Last night's Celtics and Rockets game is the reason why you love sports. The Boston Celtics were down 26 and were able to make a miraculous comeback, spurred on by some of their bench players like Terry Rozier. You know what I'm saying? They chopped a 26-point down lead down and won the game by a point. A game-winning hook was shot by Al Horford. And that's why you like sports, because it's unpredictable. I'm watching the game. I'm thinking to myself, this game is over. I'm turning it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna watch next. Is it, am I gonna take a look at vice principals or whatever the case is? But you're watching the game, and the game basically comes down to, first of all, I fully acknowledge that the Houston Rockets blew a 26-point lead. That's unacceptable. But the game came down to two offensive foul calls made by the referee. Now, when you think about that, late in games, referees usually swallow the whistle. In this case, they did not. James Harden, he fouled what's his name, Marcus Smart on the inbound. He pushed him the first time. I believe it was like 7 seconds left to go. Houston was up 1. Then, with 3 seconds left to go, so after Al Horford hits that big hook shot, they called the very same foul on James Harden on Marcus Smart with the push off or whatever the case is. Now, the first foul was a foul. Marcus Smart was going James Harden into committing a foul, which he eventually did. Pushed him. Everybody pushes off in the NBA. We all know that Marcus Smart is a career flopper. That second call should not have been a foul. Now, I'm just taking away the whole 26-point lead. I know they shouldn't have given it up. We're going to talk about officiating as well. 26-point lead, they shouldn't have given it up. But the second call, you don't call that. You don't call that offensive foul. That was ridiculous. Because it's 3 seconds left to go in the game. To win the game, it's a full court heave. We get robbed of that moment because the referee wants to interject. And that's kind of the whole thing where you want players to decide games. Because now a bunch of Houston fans, they could only say, well, he flopped. Or they could say that, I disagree with the call. And that if it's a playoff game, that could 10, 20, 30 years, you'll be thinking about that one call. And that's what's kind of annoying. So like for those proponents or people who want to say, well, instant replay, you should be able to call a foul in an instant replay. We're calling fouls in late stretches of games, and people still disagree on the regular foul. Now, what if you go in to instant replay and you call a foul on something that wasn't called before? Like, that's going to be even worse than what happened to the Houston Rockets. That's going to draw up more controversy. So for people that are saying, well, we need to have fouls in instant replay, we have fouls in the last 3 seconds, 5 seconds of games, and we're pissed off about that. So imagine if you called it in an instant replay. That would be like, whoa, like that would just blow the whole thing out of the water. James Harden complained about the officiating, how there were only 2 officials. One of the officials got sick or whatever the case is. Dog, the officials aren't the reason why you lost that game. You had a 26-point lead. You're not supposed to lose that game at all. None whatsoever. So at the end of the day, that's unacceptable excuse. It's unacceptable that you got 2 offensive foul calls on you. You know who Marcus Smart is. You know he's a flopper. You should act accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes if you see how the referee called it, you can't make the same mistake. Either you gotta flop, which James Harden is a flopper, or they gotta make the inbound pass to somebody else, or they're out of timeout. So I understand that as well. But this whole game really reiterates the fact of how if a call during normal regulation could draw so much infamy and it could draw so much attention and uproar. Imagine a call for instant replay. Imagine this is the NBA Finals, 3 seconds left on the clock, and they give the ball to Harden. He has 3 seconds left to go down the length of the court and make a shot. But they don't call an offensive foul. They're trying to decide who gets the ball. after the fact they call offensive foul. That would completely destroy the finals. Everybody would be like, it's rigged or whatever the case is. And that's where I draw the line with calling fouls after, when a play, calling a foul for a play where a foul was never initially called just because you see the instant replay. That's where I completely draw the line. I disagree with that whole notion. In terms of that game, though, like, Celtics defense is the real deal. They play a lockdown defense, and the way you got to beat them, you really have to score like 105. And that's if they allow you to get there. You know what I'm saying? So their defense is good. As far as the Rockets, one thing that really scares me, because they're on a 4-game losing streak, is not the fact that they lost. It's the fact that Chris Paul keeps coming in and out of the lineup. One day it's his knee, one day it's the shin. It's always something with Chris Paul, and I'm wondering, is his body breaking down? I know he trains really hard. I know he's a talented player. He's one of the best point guards to ever played a game of basketball. If he had a championship, people put him in that category. Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas. I mean, he's already, his numbers, if you look at his numbers, he's kind of up there already. But if he had a title, that would cement everything. You see what I'm saying? That would cement everything for him. His body seems to be breaking down, in my opinion. I don't know why he just keeps missing so many games. 1 minute is the knee, 1 minute is the shin. It's always something with him. And that's something that's really scary, because if it comes playoff time and he can't play or he can't go, and you expect James Harden to win playoff games all by himself, they could win a game. They're not going to win a series like that. They're going to need Chris Paul throughout the playoffs without any interruption. Boston Celtics, as we all know, they're one piece away. That piece was Gordon Hayward. So Gordon Hayward's out of the boot. We know he might not come back this season, but man, they're going to be a dangerous team for many years. To overcome a 26-point deficit is miraculous within itself. So that's why we watch sports. That's why we love sports. We love the human element. We love the fact that Marcus Smart is goading the referees into calling offensive foul. Like, really, the referee should have saw after the first play, okay, he's probably gonna flop again. Like, I know the first one's a foul. Even if the second one is a foul, the fact that he's purposely trying to throw himself on the floor, I'm not gonna call that one. And that's kind of like the game that you play, the chess match, and the human element of sports. Which you can't really take it out of the game, because then you don't get the finished product. That game was epic down the stretch, except for the 2 offensive charges. One of them, I could agree, whatever. You call one, but you can't call 2 of the same thing. It's ridiculous. And Houston, that's not the reason you lost the game. I'm going to keep it 100% funky. That's not the reason why Houston lost the game. Let me know what you think about the game. Let me know how you think about the Rockets. Do you think they're in trouble? 4-game losing streak. Have they lost their mojo? I think so. This is Vlad from Hoops Junction. Hoops meets Hoopla. Peace.